Today is going to be a fun night. We're here to talk about the Sparklet Warz votes. The, there's a lot of options in this, and each one has something different, and how some votes can affect other votes. And this is something that I wanted to talk about and make sure that we're all aware. And if you have any questions, anything, please jump in the chat and I will try to address them. So let's go over some of these here. We have the very first voting option, which is once you purchase a faction pass, you'll be locked in for the season. Meaning, whatever faction pass you get from the Upland store is going to be the um, faction you're in. So if you pull a cyborg, you're a cyborg. There's no trading, no swapping. It's what it is. Um, so you have the option on that is yes or no. Pretty simple on that one. Then let's go to number two. Should Sparklet Warz assets be tradable? This is one of the ones that can ultimately affect other voting options, which we'll get into once we go through them all. But I'm gathering what that would mean is if you bought them, you have them. That's any of the ones that you already have or that you get from the sale from Upland. Um, One of the things I'm hoping that Upland does allow, if this is brought into um, a yes vote, is that we are allowed all the way up until the start of the war to be able to trade these. So let's say you bought a bunch of passes and you have let's say they do it in London and they have all the London special builds, and that's one of the spots where you don't have many of the London builds, and you got a bunch of those structural ornaments for them. You should be able to swap and trade them, but once the war starts, um, you would be able to, they would be locked. Yes, I understand they should be tradable, Mass Chef. Um, but I'm just explaining the options on these. Or no, they're not tradable at all. Oh no, they're allowed to be traded at any time. This right here, it's interesting because you never know during the wars what could happen, what could trade. You would have to be very, very planned out going at the start of the war in order to make this one be a yes to lock the trades. Voting option number three. Should the winning factions sit out the next war? This keeps things competitive and avoids streaks. No, all factions should play every war. Um, this is kind of cut and dry. It's a yes or no. It's not necessarily, in my opinion, on this one, that making a faction sit out, would that mean the players have to sit out? Would they be able to be like, okay, you know what, the cyborgs won, wars number four, and so the next war, the cyborgs faction pass would be just taken out, and it would be between the pirates, the knights, and this new possible mercenary faction. Um, so this one's kind of a just how you think about it. It That's possibly they did this because of all the kickback that everyone wants to be in that final or that faction that wants to win. And they're like, okay, well, the Knights don't stand a chance because everybody's flocking to the one faction that keeps winning. So you'll have that unbalanced of everybody going to the winning team. All right. Now this one right here on vote number 4 was something before the voting options came out. I had asked for more information from the devs of Upland, and they just said, "Hey, you'll get it when the voting comes." I don't understand why this just wasn't the options given to us so they could be discussed prior to the voting coming out. Um, so this one was, what is the ideal Sparklet Wars format? It's PvP. Which is basically what we have right now. All factions competing against each other. This is how the wars have been set up since day one. This would be the option you would do if you were to just continue that exact same um, running of, well, you just keep going that way. PvE. All factions work together to compete against the boss. This was like the collective protocol that we did in the beginning of Genesis Week. I don't know if you participated in that. Yes, it was a 2-day event. It was extremely fun. And instead of everybody fighting against each other, we all worked together to defeat the collective protocol. It was interesting. It was different. Um, it is still just a basic, who scored the most points competition type thing. And nobody's feelings were hurt when it was done because it's like, well, you weren't attacking me. Why'd you attack me? This and that. There was a lot less of that animosity between players. And this brought a lot of people together, which is kind of like what TML had talked about in the shows. Then we also have the PvE PvP combo where factions are working together to compete against like a boss and then also to fight each other. This would be interesting how that would play out because if we're all working together but against each other, it's kind of I don't know. The once this would be something that without the full details. Hey Lily, thank you for joining. Without the full details of the specifics of it, it could be interesting. I'm not too sure how I am on that one. Now we have the PVE faction and city base, which is kind of like the same one above it, but it's spread out. Instead of just one city, we are now broadening the wars across multiple cities. That would be very interesting to see how that would take place. Um, the uh, option to have a war across multiple cities could bring into play some of these smaller tier 5 cities that would might not work so well individually as a city for the wars. And then we have the option of a rotation above all, a rotation of all the above. And we're going to hit this last voting option, which is, should there be 4 equal factions, or should one be a mercenary wildcard faction? Um, it This is indicating that there's gonna be 4 factions. Doesn't say that, hey guys, it's just we're gonna add one. It's just how is this fourth faction going to be, implemented as number four? Um, I'm. This is one of those factions that is going to rely, or one of this vote is going to rely on how one of the previous votes is done. Because if you just add a fourth faction, you're watering down the other two that are already struggling to compete against the one main faction, which is the cyborgs. Um, One second. Um, so all factions would compete the same, or that would act as a mercenary that could score points for any of the other factions. Once again, reaching out to the devs, how would this mercenary faction decide which faction they're working for? Um, it's gonna play a part in should you vote this way or not. We're missing a lot of information here. So now we're going to kind of run, since we ran through these and touch base on which each one is, we're going to go back and explain how, if one of these that you vote for, how it will affect the other voting option. So, and the very first vote, it's the team you're on, and that's it. That's pretty simple, dry. That's not going to affect any of the others. So on this one, you're going to pick it. You get what you get, or you don't. Number two, this is one where the locking the assets can affect how you would vote for the last one. Like, should that team be a mercenary team? Because if assets are locked up and you need help, the mercenary team vote would come into play. That would be I'm hiring help because I can't trade items. I can't do this. I need help. So, in the way of needing help would come from team number four that can do anything. So it's something to think about as you're picking these, to make sure what your thought of the gameplay is going to go, and make it hopefully in the way that you want it. Voting number three, it's sitting out the next war. This doesn't really affect too much the other ones. So the only thing this could do would be the tradable assets. If you're out, you'd have to get these before, if they're out, to either try to sell them or get them to other players before the war starts. That's something they have to have a buffer window from when you get your card or your team to when the war starts, to allow for something in the secondary to happen. Because here in Upland, we get that. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to talk. We're going to go back to the number one. If this is purchased and you're not allowed to trade, what you get is what you get. It would also prevent people who are getting in to try to hope to get in to buy assets to sell, who aren't looking to play the game at all. They just want to get that cyborg pass because they know they're going to raise the secondary up to try to get as much as they can for those people. And that's another thing that during if the assets are locked could throw a monkey wrench in some of these people's plans that buy the passes that don't actually play. Um, that they're just in it to try to flip and make some money, because that can hurt a team also, to have a lot of people out there that aren't participating in the game and they're in it just for financial gain. Um, Now the format here with the all that compete against each other, once this is something that I see um, not really affecting the other voting options. Um, it's just going to be personal preference. How do you want to see Upland go forward with the wars? And we're going to go back to the four equal factions. Uh, Once again, this is that caveat of what's going to happen from the other ones, how this vote that you cast. Um, yeah, Masha, if you're right, the markup is crazy. And then, it also ties up assets that could be used because people are buying them, jacking them up, um, and making it not available for players to get what they need for the wars. The the four equal factions will it's I think that's going to water down the field more than it's going to agree. It will help fight the top faction, which is the cyborgs. I'm not trying to turn this into a cyborg bashing. This is not what it's about. It's about trying to create fair gameplay. Uh, but they're just trying to. I understand Upland is trying to curb the possibility of the cyborgs to win, and it's you know it kind of sucks if you're a diehard cyborg person, and it's for the other teams, just they need to pull it together. They need to compete at the same level. I don't hate on the cyborgs at all. I was a cyborg. I switched to the knights because I'm more of the I like to fight for my win. I don't want it to be an easy win. Um, and I can see that's why Upland is trying to make it where not everybody's flocking to just one team. So it's not just a massacre in the game. Um, so the mercenary one I think would be very interesting. Um, Hold on one second. The mercenary one is interesting. I think this could be very very fun to play the with getting in and you know play it for okay work with, but also if you're going to do this option, how are you going to um oh, hold on. We got someone here who wants to join in with some talking. What's up, Puppet? How are you?
What's going on? I'm doing well.
Puppet was supposed to be on the show so we could banter this back and forth a little, but yeah, he was a little late. Looks like he's still trying to get in here.
Yes. The volume's very quiet. Let me plug this into my van. I think that'll probably help. Bear with me for a sec.
All right. You need to be safe while you're driving, Puppet.
I'm good.
You're good.
Plus, it'll be insane content when I crash. Don't worry.
Oh, right. We'll get so many views from that one.
Idiot does podcast while driving.
So, currently, right now, we're talking about the last vote, which is the one for the wild card.
Right.
So, I'm thinking this will be a very interesting option, depending on how Upland plays the mercenary part of the faction. Because yes, you're scoring points for the other team, but I guess it would follow kind of like how it does is you have your team point score and then you have your individual point score. So the only other thing with that, would Upland allow a mercenary type of would it be just all weapons? Would it be some defense? Would there be, the option to build and put the structures on to gain points? There's a lot up in the air, I think, on this option that we are not getting to really make a decision. And this is going to be like we do best in Upland. We speculate, so that's what we're here to do. We're here to speculate some more about this fourth option. I think we lost you when you put your phone up. So, I mean, anybody have any thoughts in the audience about the mercenary faction or the fourth card, the wild card faction? Puppet, you still there? You might be going through a bad area, Puppet. Anybody with some thoughts on this? Let's go to the audience here. Anybody? What are your thoughts on the fourth faction? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's something that's just going to be? So Lily says, don't see how they would get it to work well. So work well, so just the fourth. Mass says he likes the wild card. Picasso likes 4 equals. I don't know. I kind of like the fourth faction. I think it could be interesting if it's played properly. Are you back? Well, we'll see what's going on if Puppet makes it on. The fourth faction is something that could add a newer element. I'm really hoping that the one of, this format, I think, is going to really indicate the changes in the wars. I really enjoy the PvE with everybody working together, and you got based off of the points that you did. The fact that it changed up from trying to find the drones, everybody, we had to hunt to find it. It really made gameplay fun. The scoring on the PvE, every, so much really changed how you scored. especially considering that the your attack on the drones was part of it. The attack on the boss was part of it. That the fact that Upland went away from that single snapshot scoring system with the PVE was a great improvement. Um, I think that no matter which way they go going forward with the wars, that almost all the time point counting it is how it needs to be, because um, you know how you react to something and how quick you react to an attack or being or attacking someone or something in the game, um, that's an integral part of it. It's going to make people pay attention more into the wars. Um, and the the rest of it is going to be based off of all of that, um, and just make it work properly. Uh, People won't feel like their time that they're putting in is for naught, and people want to score points. People want to change things. The difference in the time zones of everybody that is playing is going to make a difference in how well things are done. So a on the hour score or the half hour snapshots, it really during that PVE made a big difference. Um, I the city base being spread, I think that would be another very interesting thing, depending on what Upland's going to do. Um, Opening this up to multiple cities and being able to attack across, different cities. Um, if anybody played back in the day, Upland Kingdoms, um, a lot of people were waiting for Grom to bring out you could have LA and Queens working together, and your kingdoms could interact between the two. Um, Picasso says, "Not keep it all in one city." I understand, but you have to remember, if it's a very small city, something like Rutherford um, or or Slough or one of those small cities, to have all of that happen in one small city, it Picasso brings up a good one. The rings are not big enough. Picasso, I don't know if you participated in the PVE, but they did make the rings much larger uh, to accommodate a further attack against the uh, protocol collector and the drones. Uh, I think that was another test that Upland did to see how going to a city where properties have a much larger up to size to allow for a further attack. I have put out that I really think another mechanic of Sparklet would be you could charge your weapons or um, your defense chest with Sparklet to allow how big or small that ring is off of how much spark you have staked on it. Once again, all the upland cities are different sizes. So the wars cannot be a one size fits all across every single city in Upland. And I think adjustments are going to need to be made for that. I don't see a them being able to dictate the size of the ring just per what city it's in. I think that's a little too much on their back end on that. Um, so I, you know, I hope everybody who has had the chance to vote gets to gets out there and does vote. I hope this helps you make a better decision on which way to vote and think about it in a little bit different way. Voting does end on July 7th at what was it? Is it 9 a.m.? I'm pulling up the announcement. What was it? They just put that out. Sparklet Warz votes. I should have had this already popped open. 9 a.m. PT, Monday, July 7th. Um, if I have not voted yet, so I wanted to make sure that everybody could see this first. Um, I do believe if you vote and you change your mind, or you're talking with other people, that you can do that. Picasso, tell me what to vote, and I'll do it. No remembering to think about it. This is not being told how to vote. This is you know, inform you of the better way to vote. Um, so if you haven't voted, or if you don't know how to vote, we're going to show you here, share screen. Um, if you need to vote, you go to your icon up here, and the voting is right here. Um, that's something that you click it. It's going to give you a little information, and you pick, yes. Let's see. I like the lock teams. I know a lot of people don't like it. So we're going to do that. Now let's see if we're able to change it. This is if I can go back in. Yes. Change. Yes. You submitted your voting ends. Yes. So you can change your votes. Your voting is not locked in until the cutoff time. So if y'all are out there working to um, discuss it more, especially in some of your Discord chats or in your faction chats, to make things, what y'all think's best for your gameplay. You can change your votes. Let's see, is there anything else here? I was hoping to have Puppet on to be able to discuss with somebody, but I guess Puppet with driving had some technical difficulties. I do appreciate everybody for being here. We are going to raffle off one of my carts. If you put in hashtag voting, we will we'll give away a cart. I want to thank everybody for their time here. I wanted to we'll go in assets. Actually, we'll do two drawings. We'll do a pigeon cart, which would be one of these carts. We have a racing event going on in the Upland Garage right now with some kart racing. You can win some Upics doing that. And then I'll do a second prize of a 10-pack of pigeon markers. So you can decorate your property with these to help indicate for low sin fees to attract people for hunting. So we'll give away one cart and a 10-pack of pigeon markers. So make sure it's hashtag voting. You get in there and put that in, and we'll get some get some prizes out to some people. I appreciate everybody who's been here, who has stuck it out. Um, I know, Goldie used to go over this a lot. We haven't heard from Goldie. I thought this was a very important topic that, giving some insight or to talk about it um, was needed. So I got on here to do this, and hopefully, this has helped people kind of think some more about the possibilities of the votes and what the votes could do. Um, and so we got some people in. And for those who just got in, remember voting. We're going to give away a cart and a 10-pack of markers. People who got in and left early, unfortunately, they missed out. Any comments from the people out there as far as your thoughts on the wars? Do you know which team you're going to be on? Have you excited for the new war? Um, it's all, you know, the change in the wars is needed. The change in the wars uh, has been something we as a community have been asking for. So the lock pass lottery. All right. So Crowley, you want to give away a Genesis apartment structure? So Crowley 27 is going to give away a Genesis apartment structure. Thank you. So we'll have 3 prizes. I mean, we have 5 entries. We do too much more, and we're just gonna. Everybody's gonna wind up getting a prize in it. So, all right. Well, let's do this. Passes on one. Trade. All right. Let's share the screen of that. Last chance to jump in. Hashtag voting. And we're gonna see. So we're gonna start with. We'll start with um, the markers. Then we'll do the ornament, and then we'll go to the cart. So we got 6 people in. And our first person is going to be Cheesy Poof. You got 10 markers. And we're going to mark that here. Let me mark this. That way I don't forget it. Because we don't want that to happen. Cheesy. 10 markers. All right, next we're going to go with the structure ornament. And Cheesy, I do have shops everywhere, so I'll most probably have it where you can easily pick them up. Picasso got the structure ornament. So Picasso C3SO. All right, and we have our last drawing. Everybody ready? Let's see who this is going to. KO got himself a pigeon cart. All right, KO Ninja. Good thing I know who most of these people are. Well, I would like to say thank you to everybody who came out. Um, I know this was a first time for me doing a live stream. It was very, very nice to see the crowd that we did get. I know this was kind of thrown out. Um, who knows? Might start doing this a little bit more to try to help with some of the important things that come out from Upland. And I hope everybody has enjoyed, and y'all all have a great night. I know it's Saturday night. Um, y'all have a good one.